On my next exam, I'm going to have my students solve for quadratics in at least 4 different ways. One way that I want students to solve is by factoring. Another way I would like them to solve by using the quadratic formula. A third way is by completing the square. And a fourth way is by graphing. This particular YouTube video is specifically about solving a quadratic by using a calculator. So the first thing that you're going to do when you solve a quadratic by using a calculator is that we need to understand the relationship between an x-intercept and our y value. Well, the y value for our x-intercept is going to be 0. And I can see that this is already 0 on this side, so I'm just going to make the 0 my y value. So I'm going to rewrite this. So the first step is I'm going to substitute y in for 0. I want to substitute y for 0. So that gives me that I have x squared plus 2x minus 15, and that equals y. Or y equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. And I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to plug this right into my calculator. So I have a TI Inspire. I'm going to open that software. I'm going to go down to graph. I could either go to B or the graph at the bottom. Either way is fine. And then I'm just going to type our equation directly into the calculator. So again, we have y equals x squared plus 2x minus 15. I'm going to type that right into my calculator. So I have x squared plus 2x and then minus 15. And when you graph it, you can see, just by inspection, we can see that our x, let me see if I can move this out of the way a little bit. We can see just by inspection that our x-intercepts are at 3, positive 3, and we have negative 5, positive 3 and negative 5. So on our Cartesian grid, 1, 2, 3, we have an x-intercept here, and negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our parabola is going to look, well, this is x squared, so because it's a positive x squared, it means that our parabola is going to open upward. So our parabola is going to look something like this. But the important part is that these x-intercepts, because our 0 is our y, we've assigned the y to 0, that means that our x-intercepts are the solutions. So the solutions are the x-intercepts. So that gives me, again, we have my x equals 3 and x equals negative 5. Now you can ask yourself and come to the conclusion that we could have a parabola that's going to cross the x-axis in points that are going to be in between some integers. So it could be between, say, for example, 3 and 4. And then that would be really hard to identify exactly where that x-intercept is just by inspection. So there is a way using our TI Inspire to find those points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Menu. Menu is on the right side of your calculator. From Menu, I'm going to go to Analyze Graph. And from Analyze Graph, I'm going to go to my 0. Your x-intercepts are 0s, and we call them x-intercepts. These x-intercepts are 0s because our y is 0. So I'm going to, I pressed that, well, let's just continue then. So I'm going to try to find the x-intercept to the far left, and I'm going to do that by taking this line here, and you can see at the bottom of the screen it says lower bound. So I'm going to find some value to the left of my x-intercept. I'm going to click OK. And then you see that the calculator now wants me to find an upper bound. So I'm going to move the cursor over until I capture that x-intercept, push enter, and we can see now that our x-intercept is at negative 5, 0. We already counted that over, but I'm just saying this is another way in case our x-intercept happens to be in between integers. So I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to go over to Menu. From menu, I'm going to select Analyze Graph, and then I'm going to select 0 again. And then with my, you see that we have this vertical line, and the calculator is asking us for a lower bound. I'm going to find some value to the left of my x-intercept. I'm going to push enter. You see now that the calculator is asking for an upper bound. I'm going to pull my cursor to the right to capture that x-intercept, and I'm going to push enter, and it shows me again that in this case, my x-intercept is at 3, 0. So my solutions are -5 and 3.